Hey everyone, Jenna here. It's been a while since I've posted a video on this channel, so I wanted to check in and share something that felt important. I've alluded to this information in some previous videos, but I wanted to speak to it more plainly and clearly and more specifically. And as time goes on, I don't think I'm going to be sharing too much more on this channel. It's been pretty hit or miss over the last 6 months, as you may be aware if you've been following along. And this is really specifically for those who have been following along, who are familiar with the lineage of Swami Sri Kaleshwar. In this lineage, there's lots of information about Sapta Rishis. Swami Sri Kaleshwar himself talked about being a Sapta Rishi. It is commonly known on this planet that Sapta Rishis are a group of high-level advanced souls who sometimes incarnate on this planet to help out, to support some physical evolution on this planet, to support the evolution of consciousness on this planet. And there's also been some discussion and theory about these being like 7 original souls from the Creator, from Source. And I have a different understanding of this, so I wanted to share it because it's my passion, it's my job, it's my dharma, it is my role in this lifetime to speak truth, and in ways that is not oversharing, but in ways that support our collective evolution. And we are now in a new era on Earth. The Kali Yuga is behind us. We are shifting out of that energy. We are now in an era where this civilization on this planet is being prepared for the potential of open contact with other civilizations in our galaxy. This is a really big, exciting thing for this planet. This planet has been operating at a fairly low state of consciousness, or I should say this human civilization on this planet. Mother Earth herself is not operating at a low state of consciousness, but the human civilization on this planet has gone through many eras of rising consciousness, falling consciousness, and we have been experiencing for thousands of years a very contracted consciousness that has been covered in lots of negative illusions, a state of consciousness where humans have not been living in harmony, humans have not been operating in alignment with spiritual law, humans have not been embodying their highest potential. And humans are ready for that now. Humans have been moving into a state of evolution where that is now more possible, and we can become more aware of what is true, not only in this universe in terms of spiritual law, the laws that govern the mechanics of existence, but in terms of like what is true in our galaxy, like what is true in our solar system, what is true beyond this planet in terms of physical life, in terms of sentient life in this universe. And this planet has been in quarantine for a long time for a lot of reasons, mostly because of the extreme negativity that has been perpetuated, that is now healing. And it is the intention and goal and hope of the galactic civilizations in this galaxy that this planet makes that shift. And this planet is making that shift. The planet is getting ready for an open contact event. And I wanted to share this with you because I think it's important to be prepared for big change, if we can be prepared for big change, if we can be open to it. And I wanted you to know that my understanding, my knowledge, my knowing from lots of experiences and from my soul remembering my soul's lifetimes off of this planet, I wanted to share that the Sapta Rishis that we have thought of as these emissaries of God that are obviously operating in highly advanced, what we would see from a human standpoint as a miraculous, magical way of operating, is a level of empowerment that is more or less the norm in this universe. Higher civilizations, higher consciousness beings are operating in their full source consciousness, understanding themselves as an intricate part of the whole, understanding that they have access to that whole consciousness within themselves, and understanding the interconnectedness between all things in this universe. So what we've been working on here on Earth to evolve consciousness to a point where all humans can remember that and can embody that in a loving way, in a harmonious way, that has been more or less the norm in other civilizations. And so the Sapta Rishis are advanced souls who are interplanetary souls. These are souls that have evolved beyond the third dimensional experience of polarity, of duality that we experience here on Earth in its more extremes currently. And these are souls who have reached levels of creation ability. These are creator souls. And now all souls in this universe are creating. We are all here to remember our power of creation, to remember how we create with the universe, to remember how our thoughts and actions and energies and the ways we are programmed, to remember how that gives rise to our physical reality. And souls can reach a certain level of advancement where they now, as part of a civilization, as part of a group, a consciousness group, can now become responsible, can now carry the responsibility, the dharma, for overseeing creation and life and existence in various solar systems and planetary bodies in this galaxy, in this universe. So there are high-level civilizations and groups of souls who have been empowered by the powers of creation to be creators, in a sense, to create solar systems, to terraform a planet, to support the evolution of life on that planet, and to not overly interfere, to allow the natural evolutionary process to occur, but with some points of infusing that evolutionary process with some support. So the Sapta Rishis are part of an advanced civilization. They are part of a council that oversees planetary affairs here in this solar system, in a variety of solar systems. They are souls who have been empowered with the responsibility to ensure the continuation of life. And we could talk at great lengths in much broader context about what that even means and how that, plays out, because there's a lot of detail and complexity involved in a civilization like what we are experiencing here. You can see that, for yourself. And so how life evolves and how, choices at that level of consciousness are made to support the evolution and continuation of life, those are complex matters. and it is, a thing that can be difficult to wrap your head around, to mentally come to terms with the idea that there could be groups of beings more or less in charge of this planet, more or less able to carry out certain, orders, instructions on a planet like this, if that were needed. For instance, there have been multiple attempts at activating nuclear arms on this planet over the last 60, 70 years. Those attempts have been thwarted by higher level beings who have the best interest of Earth's evolution in mind. And so that was an example of one moment of loving intervention that could occur to prevent the complete destruction of life to support the continuation of life. So the Sapta Rishis are ET souls who incarnate sometimes, who come to Earth and who embody higher levels of power because of the roles and level of consciousness they're at in these other civilizations when they incarnate. Now, when they incarnate here on Earth, they're still coming into the collective consciousness net of this planet. They're still coming into the illusion net of this planet and having to work with the level of consciousness that exists here. A being can operate it in really advanced, high-level ways, in miraculous ways, and still also be somewhat bound to aspects of human limitation and to aspects of physical limitation. But some of those aspects of limitation can absolutely be transcended. And these souls have been able to demonstrate that at levels of power, ability that show a large difference between where most humans on this planet are and where those souls are, and their ability to activate certain aspects of consciousness within themselves. So I share this just because it's, part of my story. It's part of my soul's path to have remembered my lives in other civilizations, to have remembered the roles I've played in those civilizations, to remember why I'm here in this lifetime doing what I'm doing, to remember why I have been able to operate in certain advanced ways at a very young age, why I have been able to activate supernatural abilities at a fairly rapid speed. It's partially because my soul has done it before, and it's partially because I normally don't incarnate here. I normally incarnate in other places, and that information, that level of soul wisdom and soul knowing and memories have been coming back to me, fast and furiously over the last few years, especially. And what I've engaged has been what has been a 7-year process. I woke up 7 years ago. I went through my spiritual awakening 7 years ago, and I was meant to go through the first 30 years of my life on this planet somewhat asleep. I was still operating in advanced ways, reaching really high levels of leadership capacity and in a high level or a very successful organization in the United States. And, operating in a way that was very much outside of the norm, but very much asleep and very much covered in and programmed with the negativity and negative belief systems of this planet. So when I woke up, it took, a year or so to start to activate the connection with my star family, with the ET souls who I know and who have been guiding me in this process. And then the work began. Then it became really clear that there was a level of consciousness and advancement that my soul could reach in this life that was my mission, that I had to go all in on. I had to go all in on the process of excavating every bit of programming I took on in this lifetime, every bit of ancestral collective consciousness, baggage, negative programming, negative belief systems, whatever those were. I had to excavate and find all of those, deprogram myself from this civilization and reprogram myself for divine truth, for spiritual law, for what is possible in this universe, for what my soul has experienced in other lifetimes, and for the state of harmony, unconditional love, and grace that allows miracles to occur. So that was my mission, and it took 7 years. It took 7 years to get the job done, and I'm still working on it in some ways, but the job is pretty much complete. Like I've gotten to a point where I can confidently share this sort of information with you and know that this is true. This is truth. And it's just my job to share some nuggets of truth for those who are ready to hear it. Everyone's at different places in their journey, and not everyone's going to be ready to hear it, and not everyone's going to want to hear that. And I think it's important for us to be able to broaden, the context with which we experience life, and broaden our context of the, operations in this universe, of how things operate and what sort of life is out there. We have been in isolation and alone on this planet for a reason, because we've not been ready to understand these sorts of things. We've not been ready to understand that the gods and goddesses of ancient times were actually ETs, really powerful, advanced souls, just engaging in their own drama and then involving humans in it. We've not been ready to see that. But we're ready now, and we need to be ready. It's time for us to be ready. It's important for us to be ready. So I just want to share this because we are entering an era. We are in an era now where these possibilities of more profound open contact are increasing. And I want everyone to be ready, and I want everyone to be excited. And I think it's important to also think about the fact that if the Sapta Rishis are ET souls, interplanetary souls, galactic council level souls, essentially, well, that's awesome. Like, that just gives us a better framework with which to envision them, to picture them, to think about how they operate and what they do in this universe. Think about how Swami used to talk about, when people asked, where's Jesus, right? He was on another planet helping out for a while. That's what they do. That's what we do. We go around to different planets and help. And when there is particular work that needs to be done in the collective consciousness of a civilization, groups of ET souls, interplanetary souls, can incarnate to help with that. A lot of you listening are interplanetary souls, and there are millions of interplanetary souls incarnated on this planet right now, all at different levels of consciousness, different levels of power, but at somewhat higher levels of consciousness than the kind of average, human has been. So there is a massive, massive mission to support the awakening on this planet right now. And the Sapta Rishis, spearhead that and support that in various ways. And these were things that Swami alluded to in his lifetime. He talked about other galaxy people. He talked about, Jesus being on other planets, that sort of thing. But he didn't say it in in this sort of plain kind of speech, right? That the Sapta Rishis, if you want to picture them right now, if you want to picture Baba and Swami and Mother Mary and the soul who was Buddha and the soul who was Akhenaten and the soul who, has incarnated in all of these, or all these souls who have incarnated in all these different forms. If you want to picture these souls, picture them on a starship right now. Picture them on a starship, overseeing, reviewing what's going on all different planets, looking at the dramas that are playing out, looking at the energetic matrix of what has been created on these various planets, looking at, what the scientific and spiritual possibilities for the evolution of life in different parts of this galaxy might be. You might picture them coordinating, sending groups of souls to planets to support in various capacities and various roles. You might see them looking across this broad plan for how souls might take on different patterns and programming and aspects of consciousness to resolve issues, negative attachments, negative belief systems, to help clear and move through the human system, what needs to be felt and processed and healed. You might think of these interplanetary souls on a starship, like reviewing all of those plans and organizing that. So, the incarnation process happens from the spiritual realm into the physical, and in certain situations, it can happen from these advanced civilizations into a lower civilization, right? So these advanced civilizations are operating at slightly higher dimensional frequencies than Earth. So a soul can leave a body in that civilization and choose to incarnate in a lower civilization at a slightly lower frequency. It's a very similar process as coming straight from the spiritual realm. You're still coming from a higher dimension into a lower dimension and going through the incarnation process. So one thing I'll also share, I think I maybe shared this in one video that's probably buried way back in the Star Family Wisdom channel. And I alluded to this at one point, I think in a couple of conversations. And this was something that was spoken to in a kind of galactic ET focused conference a couple of years ago. So what I know to be true for my soul is that when I leave this body, I'm not going back to the spiritual realm, because I have a body on a starship that's waiting for me to come home to it. Oh, it makes me emotional just thinking about it. It's so wild. It's like even wild to say this on this planet. It's like it's really pushing the boundaries on what people are ready to hear. But I left that body just temporarily to come into this one. And I'm living this incarnation, having this human experience, doing life here on Earth in epic ways, going through a very epic spiritual journey for the purpose of supporting various aspects of healing on the planet. And when I'm done, I just go home to the civilization that I came from. And then when that incarnation is done and I die from that body, then I'll go back to the spiritual realm and, choose what that next path is. But those bodies in the civilization I come from, they live for millennia. Like they live a very long time. So it's not the same type of relatively short, incarnation process that happens here on Earth. So that, death, eventual death is much farther out, if you think about it in like a linear time perspective. So I'm not sure what else to say about that. I had a funny conversation with Adam Apollo at one point about this, and it broke his brain a little bit. He's a physicist, and he was trying to wrap his head around how is that possible from a physics standpoint. And we finally got there. He finally acknowledged that he could see, yep, okay, yeah, that's possible for sure. It would just depend on, like certain locations in the galaxy for certain starships and that sort of thing. But these are the sorts of truths that feel so much like science fiction, because that's how they have been fed to humans so far, that it can feel so like unreal. Like you could listen to this and think I am just crazy. But I've actually just reached really high levels of awareness and consciousness and have stripped away a lot of illusion layers. And so, this is this journey I've been on to remember my soul, what I've done in this galaxy, where I've come from, all that. This journey I've been on, it would take days to properly explain it, to you in a way that maybe helps it land a little easier. But this is also an exercise in trust. I think sometimes when a civilization is at this point in its evolution and certain, souls show up or experiences happen, that it gives the souls who are here an opportunity to practice their spiritual work, right? It gives everyone an opportunity to lean into trust. It gives everyone an opportunity to examine their own belief systems around what they think is possible, around what they think is true, around what they fear. And so, arriving at a place where one can, hold these sorts of truths or this sort of information within the context of, what's also going on this civilization, and within the context of, your own soul's journey, like that's a lot. It's a lot to be able to hold. And I think more and more and more people are ready for that now. And I think more and more people are feeling internally, a sense of distortion because there's certain nuggets of truth that haven't been fully revealed. And we feel that inside of ourselves. When we have been deprived of truth, when we have been separated from truth, separated from source consciousness, for example, like that just creates all of these distortions within us that manifest in various ways because we're not feeling at ease with what is. We're not aligned with truth. Like our souls want to be aligned with truth. They operate better when they're aligned with truth and when they can recognize truth in a body like this. So this is also an exercise in leaning into truth and opening to more aspects of truth becoming known to us, and also letting go, of some of the kind of religious aspects of dogma on this planet, the religious aspects of dogma that tell us that, certain advanced souls with advanced abilities, must be these, just like pure souls direct from God sort of thing. And yeah, a soul could come directly from source for sure, but also there is a much bigger context of what goes on in this universe and how to understand that. And also, for a soul to come into a planet like this that has been operating within an energetic and mental matrix that has been highly distorted and highly negative and highly violent in many ways, for a soul to come into that sort of consciousness system and bust through that in ways where they can demonstrate miraculous abilities, miraculous states of consciousness, that tells me that is a very old, advanced soul that has actually been around for a long time. That is a soul that has already been through the evolutionary process in this universe and has risen through many, many, many layers of consciousness over many, 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 many thousands of lifetimes. That is not a soul that has come directly from source. Souls that come directly from source generally are newer souls that are starting their evolutionary process in the universe. They are just starting out on learning what they need to learn and starting to have experiences in the physical. It takes many lifetimes to develop the level of consciousness that the Sapta Rishis operate at, which is also I think, good context to hold as you think about them being these groups of souls that are operating at advanced levels in our galaxy, overseeing aspects of evolution and life in our galaxy. So, with that being said, I think I'll wrap it up there for today and just wish you a beautiful rest of the year. I'm not sure if I'll post anything more. I'm focused on some various things that feel joyful and exciting to me, and you know, if I've learned one thing or remembered one thing on this journey, it's to connect with joy, you know, and to do what brings us joy. Because everything is possible when we're in a state of unconditional love and joy, and when we can work towards embodying that state, that's what's going to bring us closer to source. That's what's going to bring us closer to the miraculous nature of this universe, and we'll just allow her miraculous nature to unfold in easier ways for us. So I've been leaning into that. I've been leaning into finding my joy, and I think, teaching will continue to be a part of it in the future, but I've been spending more time writing. That's been important to me. I've also been continuing to navigate various process work, some of it within the context of what Swami taught, some of it agnostic from what Swami taught, but drawing on all different aspects of spiritual study from various lineages in this world, and then continuing to be guided by my star family, by the group of souls who have supported this particular mission on Earth in this lifetime for myself, and trusting and opening to their guidance as I have this whole time, and allowing that to move me in the right direction. So if you open to this truth, this potential, this opportunity to think about your relationship with the Sapta Rishis in a different way, to develop your relationship with the Sapta Rishis in a different way, I invite you to start talking to them as your star family, as ET souls who are here to support you, who are here to guide you on your journey of evolution and ascension, who are here to help you embody your state of truth that is perfect for your soul. These are souls who know you, who are here to help you. These are souls who can guide you in all sorts of ways. And some of the technologies that Swami taught are just shortcuts and ways in which we can connect with these souls. So, continue to use those. Those are helpful, but you also don't always need those. Just by also kind of integrating this awareness and connecting the dots a little more fully on who these beings are, it strengthens our connection with them. Anytime we can become more conscious of what is and what truth is, it just helps us. It helps us connect with the intelligences of this universe that are available to support us. So I hope you have a great rest of the year, and I'll be in touch if I have anything else important to share. And as always, I'm here for you. If you have questions, if you need help with your process, if there's anything that you want to talk about, just to talk with a friend, I'm here for you. Always reach out. You can find me at jenna@starfamilywisdom.com or on the Star Family Wisdom YouTube channel. Bye for now.